Adam Noble, Forsey here for Pro Boxing Fans. I'm delighted to be joined by Hosea Burton in Riga, Latvia. First of all, welcome to Riga. How was your flight over here and things like that?
Well, it was hard getting over here. The motorway was all blocked off, so we had to jump over a fence, run across a housing estate, get taxis at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was hard work, but we're here now and we're ready to go.
Yeah, well, it's funny, we were just talking off camera. What was it like at the airports and things like that? Is it a bit eerie?
Yeah, well, the airports was quite empty. We all had to have our masks on and everything, so listen, straightforward once we got to the airport, but getting to the airport was quite hard. We made check-in by 2 minutes.
Yeah, I heard actually, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a rush to get here.
Yeah, but you got here, so fantastic. So obviously you've come from England where there's some weird things going on. What's your first impressions of Riga, Latvia?
Lovely place. I'm gonna
come. Expecting it to be like this?
No, not at all.
Same as me?
Not at all. I am going to fetch the missus back here and we're going to have a look around because I think it's a lovely place.
It's
what I've seen. Yeah, what I've seen so far, I really like it.
Yeah, good man. So, most importantly, while you're really here, the MTK contract semi-final against Ricards Bolotniks. What do you make of Bolotniks? He's kind of an unknown quantity in many ways. Obviously, he knocked out Stephen Ward. What do you make of Mr. Bolotniks?
He can fight. Now, I get misinterpreted a few times, right? And in the last interview, they said, something about how do you think it could go? I said, well, don't be surprised if it ends in a round or two.
Yeah.
I said, because I'm that type of fighter. Now, he goes and thinks that I don't value him as a fighter, that I'm going to knock him out in a round or two, and I think I might have pissed him off a little bit. But I don't really care if I've annoyed him, like, but I rate him as a decent fighter, but I do think I'm a league above him.
You think you're a league above, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I saw your interview. You did say he was a good fighter. I saw your interview on...
Yeah, you can't underestimate anybody. The time you underestimate somebody is the time you will get beat. And I don't underestimate anybody. I've trained really hard for this. I'm really fit and I'm really strong. I'm ready for 1 round or I'm ready for 10 rounds. So it's just the way it is.
Funny, Richard said exactly the same thing. Obviously, when you found out you'd have to come to his hometown of Riga, Latvia, it sounds like you didn't know. A lot of people don't know too much about the country.
Yeah.
It's a very small country. But what was your first thought in your head that you had to have to come here to fight him in his hometown?
To tell the truth, the very first thing I thought is I was devastated.
Really?
I thought, oh no, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to get robbed. And then I started thinking about things. We're fighting for a title, we're fighting for the WBO international or something, European, yeah. So, so the WBO European, so there's going to be the WBO officials here. So I said, well, we're not going to get robbed, we're going to have a fair crack at the whip. And then Bolotniks wouldn't have got robbed in England, you know, we would have got a fair crack at the whip. Okay, he knocked out Stephen Ward, so we took it in his own hands and made his own decision. But I've never been to Latvia before. I thought it was going to be something like Out of Taken, you know, just
a bit
like real, like scary.
Yeah.
Now, it's not fazed me by coming here. Like I'm fighting in Latvia, I'm fighting in his own country. Like, makes no difference wherever you're at. If you fight in Manchester, you still got to go to a hotel a couple of days before. You know, so actually the nice weather and people seem nice. You know, it's actually nicer here than it is back home. So
I would agree with you. Yeah, if you can, people walk around, living their lives. Obviously they're linked up with MTK Global and they've got the World Boxing Super Series here, so that's given some sort of glowed some good light on Latvia as a city to put on fights. In terms of the rest of the other people in the tournament and the whole light heavyweight scene in the UK, what's your opinion on things at the moment? Obviously we've got Anthony Yarde, he's sort of making a comeback, or Dex Spellman. Let's start there. What did you think of the Dex Spellman, Anthony Yarde?
It's a good comeback fight from coming off a loss. Dex Spellman, I wouldn't say was on top class British level.
Yeah.
Never mind fighting someone who's just lost for a world title fight. I don't mean to disrespect Dex in any sort of way, but it's just the way it is. So Anthony Yarde, coming off of that victory, he done what he had to do. But Dex Spellman just lost to Lyndon Arthur.
Yes.
So Dex Spellman's just come off a loss to an English class fighter, not a British class fighter, an English class fighter. Okay, he has the Commonwealth title, but Lyndon's no superstar.
Yeah.
So he done what he had to do anyway. They've all done what they've needed to do.
Yeah. So you've made no secret about this, but you think he's been matched too easy?
Yes. Anthony Yarde was matched up against me and he pulled out.
Yeah.
The winner of me and Yarde had to fight the winner of Bolotniks and Johnson.
Yeah.
So Johnson won that one, and then Yarde pulled out against me. I've been wanting to fight with Yarde for a while because he's a big name. People, people think he's a real big name, and he's this, that, and the other because he's got muscles and quite a good-looking lad. So, you know, people think he's rock hard, like, oh, Anthony Yarde there, because he's been on a few adverts and whatever, and he's not being tested. The test he's had, he's been beat.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about how great of a performance he had. He got beat every single round bar one in his world title fight against an old man. Sergey Kovalev was brilliant in his day, but he's an old man now. He's not the man he once was. Would he have lasted 2 rounds in his day? No. So anyway, he's done what he's had to do. He's been marketed right, and he is where he is.
So in terms of, like, you've been called, that's the fight you've been running towards, Anthony Yarde. You've always gone on about you want the big name fights. In terms of this tournament, this MTK Golden Contract tournament, obviously if you win that, you get a deal, a 5-fight deal.
Yeah, you get a 5-fight deal with Top Rank or one of the top promoters.
Yeah. So do you think you found it quite hard to get that fight made? Obviously, you said he pulled out of one of the contests. If you win this, do you think you can get that? That seems to be the
if I
want more than anything.
No, it's not the one fight I want more than anything.
No.
I want a world title fight.
Yeah.
Right. So if I win this opens the door for a world title, because if I win this, I'll be 27-1. It's a good record to have. A world champion would go through the rankings and go, right, Hosea Burton, I'll have a go at him. He's got a good record, tall, upright boxer, blah, blah, blah. We'll get a go with him. So, yeah, world title shot is what every boxer wants. You speak to any boxer in the world, they all want that world title fight. And I'm no different to everybody else.
Okay, brilliant. In terms of your previous fight you had with Bob Adjusef, I heard you saying that should have really been the final of this.
Bob is a very good fighter.
Yeah.
Bob was British and Commonwealth champion. He fought for a world title against Solomov.
Yeah, he's done some things.
Went the distance. He had a majority decision loss over Tony Bellew, what some people thought he had won.
Yeah.
Bob was a good fighter.
Yeah.
Bob is a good fighter. If Bob was still left in this competition, he'd be the man to win the competition. If Bob and Bolotniks was fighting, I would fancy Bob.
Okay.
So it's just styles makes fights, and I knew I had the style to beat Bob, as I know I've got the style to beat anybody else in the competition. It's just deliverance on the night.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of this tournament, I remember an interview you did. I think it might have been a year, maybe 2 years ago. But you seemed a little bit down in the interview that you couldn't get fights. You were like, I'm desperate. I will literally fight anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
I'll even do it a bit cheaper, I think you said, because you wanted these fights that badly. How happy are you that this tournament came along?
Over the moon.
Really good.
Over the moon.
Fights.
It was a blessing that I signed with MTK. You know, I was sick. I was fed up because I've lost in my professional career. Okay, I've had some bad rounds against some journeymen where I haven't valued them at all. But as a proper fight goes on, I've lost maybe 2 rounds. You know, I lost maybe I don't know, maybe 3 minutes in the full fight against Frank Buglioni, where I've had my only loss.
Yeah,
you know, I was
yeah.
dominating that fight, but I was inexperienced. I got tireder than I've ever been tired before in my life, because I used to think I was a better boxer than other people, so I didn't have to train as hard as other people. But what a complete load of rubbish that is, you know. Boxing skill alone only gets you so far, but then the rest is in the gym, on the track, in the strength and conditioning gym. You know, you've got to tick all boxes, and I only used to tick one box. Now I'm a fully rounded fighter now.
Yeah, excellent. Well, hopefully we'll see some of that on Saturday night. I wanted to get your opinion on the sort of, we're talking about world titles. What's your opinion on, it's a stacked division, even like in Britain, even on a world scene. Who do you think the best in your weight class at the moment is at?
Oh, it's hard. Names, it's a hard one. You've got to say Bivol and who's the other one now? He's Beterbiev. That's him. I couldn't think of his name. Very, very good. Both of them can really box, and both of them can really bang. So I'd love to see them two fight. Yeah. They're the two men in the division.
That's the main fight.
At the minute, that's the fight you'd like to see out of them. I'd like to see me against any of them, just to test my skills against them. So one of them would be my dream fight. Let me fight one of them.
Jean Pascal made a bit of a comeback.
Jean Pascal, yeah. He, really good man. He might be a little bit older than he would like to be, but he's a very good man still. You couldn't write him off. He's a good one. There's been loads of really good ones, but they just seem to be getting a little bit older. But these Eastern European fighters, they're coming through and they're good, and they can fight.
They have good backing from the Russian government, so they work in conjunction with the Boxing Federation.
They can fight. Since they've been allowed to turn professional, they've been doing really well. You've got to watch them.
Do you think that's obviously a positive thing for boxing?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I would like to see Cuba be able to turn professional. Yeah. Okay, I know it's a communist country, but okay, the money they earn, let it go back into the country. You know, they'd be happy with that. Yeah. As long as they was allowed to put their skill against the best in the world, as they do in the Olympics. You know, I'd like to see
a lot of communist countries that still have their fighters out there. So
I'd like to see the Cubans as well as the Russians and everybody else who's not allowed to. If you want to be the best in the world, you want to be the best in the world, don't you? You don't want to be the best in the world by that country and that country where they're rock hard. Yeah,
you know. Couldn't agree more. Finally, we'll end on this question. You were talking about we were talking about you struggling to find a big fight after the Buglioni loss, sort of around that period. I can't remember exactly when. How hard is it for, not even you, but like I see your team here, Collar and Joe and stuff, how hard is it to keep motivated? And you see a lot of fighters fall out of the game because they don't get the rub of the green for a couple of years and the opportunity comes up. How hard is it to keep yourself ticking over and not blowing up in weight, all those sorts of things?
It's very hard, but the thing is, when I lost, I wanted to get that fight back as soon as possible, so I started training. I got training since that loss. I got strength conditioning training. I got a nutritionist, and I thought I'm going to be better. So a lose can either make or break you. Yeah, and I think with me, it gave me that feeling that I never want to lose ever again. Yeah. So you've got to do everything, or don't do it at all. Yeah, I know what you mean. Right? And I didn't want to go out a loser. Yeah. You know, because I wasn't a loser. I've not been a loser. Yeah. So I wanted to prove to people I lost, but I'm better than that loss. Yeah. And I think everyone knows I'm better than that loss anyway. So.
Professionalised everything.
It's just a thing I've boxed my whole life. So just to throw it away and without giving it your best shot
over one bad night
can't be, you know, it'd be a waste of life. So, and you're only young once, as my dad would say.
Yeah, I'd agree. Well, on that note, I think we'll end it. Right, thanks so much for talking pro boxing fans. Good luck on Saturday, and hopefully I'll get a chance to catch up with you then.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Thank you.